Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS, presenting to you the daily quiz for 25th of April 2022. Before we begin, here is an important announcement. BYJU'S Exam Prep is bringing back the most popular Target Prelims crash course. So Target Prelims 2022 is a free crash course to help you all prepare for Prelims 2022. So this intensive revision program by our expert faculties will help you revise the current affairs of last 365 days and also key topics of 2020 and 21 that are important for the UPSC examination. When will this begin? This crash course will start on the 30th of April, that is from the Saturday this week, and will be streamed live every day between 7:30 pm and 9:30 pm. To receive regular updates on this free crash course for your prelims exam, subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon to be notified when the course goes live. Let us begin and take a look at the first question for today. Strontium, recently seen in news, is a option A, cyber espionage group, option B, malware, option C, spyware, option D, private search engine. Why this question? This article in the Hindu newspaper today talks about Strontium, which is a highly active cyber espionage group, and that is why we've taken up this question. So what is the context? It was the 7th of April and Microsoft said it had disrupted cyber attacks from a Russian nation-state hacking group, and this hacking group is none other than Strontium. This Strontium is said to be connected to the GRU, which is the Russian Armed Forces main military intelligence wing, and GRU's unit 26165 is identified as Fancy Bear, the other name for Strontium. So what exactly does the cyber espionage group do? This group deploys diverse malwares and malicious tools to breach networks. So these tools, that is the malware and malicious tools, are used as hooks in the system drivers, which will give the group access to local passwords, and also it can track the key store or even mouse movements, as well as it can control webcams and USB devices. They can also search and replace local files and stay connected to the network. This Strontium group has also carried out high volume attacks. That is, it has used malwares to target hundreds and thousands of routers and network access storage devices across the world. Many high profile breaches are said to be the work of Strontium. For example, the Democratic National Committee hack, which took place during the 2016 US presidential elections, the Global Television Network cyber attack, and also the WADA email leak. And the Strontium was recently in the news because it targeted Ukrainian firms, media organizations, government bodies, and the think tanks in the US as well as the European Union. Please note that Strontium is also known as Fancy Bear, SAR Team, Pawn Storm, Sofassi, Sednit, or also APT28 group, that is Advanced Persistent Threat 28 group. So now we know the right answer to our question. The right answer would be option A, Strontium is a cyber espionage group. Moving on to question number 2. Which of the following pairs is or are correctly matched? Number 1, World Economic Outlook, World Bank. Number 2, Global Financial System Report, International Monetary Fund. Number 3, World Investment Report, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Number 4, Global Corruption Report, World Economic Forum. What is the context? This article in the Indian Express today talks about India's latest GDP forecast by International Monetary Fund, and that is World Economic Outlook's forecast of India's GDP, and that is why we've taken up this question. To know more about what is in this report, watch 21st April Comprehensive News Analysis on our channel. The link will appear on the top right corner of your screen now. Now coming back to the question. Number 1 would be wrong because as we just discussed, World Economic Outlook is published by the International Monetary Fund and not the World Bank. See, IMF publishes 2 reports and they are World Economic Outlook, number 1, and the second one is Global Financial Stability Report. So number 2 would also be incorrect. Coming to the third pair. The third pair is correct. World Investment Report is a publication of United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. But number 4 is incorrect. Global Corruption Report is not published by World Economic Forum. The task for you for today is to let me know which organization publishes Global Corruption Report. Let me know in the comment section below. Therefore, the right answer to our question would be option D, 3 only. Moving on to question number 3. Considered as India's first feminist writer, she actively campaigned for the rights of women. She was among the founding members of the Satyashodak Samaj. She is most known for her passionate pamphlets, the first of which was called Stree Purush Tulna. The famous personality being talked about in the given passage is option A, Pandita Ramabai, option B, Tarabai Shinde, option C, Sagunabai Kshirsagar, option D, Mukta Salve. What is the context? This article in the PIB today talks about the 95th All India Marathi Conference and also has a reference to many social reformers and writers and their contribution to literature and education. And one such personality is Tarabai Shinde, and that is why we've taken up this question. See, Tarabai Shinde is known to be among India's first feminist writers. With Mahatma Phule and Savitribai Phule, she became the founding member of Satyashodak Samaj. This organization was dedicated to the education as well as upliftment of traditionally discriminated sections of the society and particularly women and the Shudras. Also note that Tarabai Shinde is famous for her writings, and a comparison between women and men or Stree Purush Tulna is one of her most famous pamphlets. This famous personality, that is Tarabai Shinde, went radically against the situations that she was born into, and she actively campaigned for the rights of women. Therefore, the right answer to our question here would be option B, Tarabai Shinde. Moving on to question number 4. The Ratle and Kwar hydroelectric projects are being constructed on option A, River Jhelum, option B, River Chenab, option C, River Satluj, option D, River Ravi. What is the context? There is a reference to Ratle and Kwar hydroelectric projects in this PIB article today, and that is why we've taken up this question. See, the Ratle is a run-of-river hydroelectric power station on the Chenab River in Kishtwar district of Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. It includes a 133-meter tall gravity dam and also two power stations adjacent to one another. Again, Kwar hydroelectric project will also be constructed on the Chenab River in Kishtwar district. And these two projects have been in news because Pakistan alleges that these projects violate the Indus Water Treaty of 1960. So coming back to our question, the right answer to our question would be option B, River Chenab. Here's another task for you for today. Let me know in the comment section where does River Chenab originate from. Also let us know in the comment section how many of these questions could you get right. Now let us take up a previous year question from Prelims paper 2016. With reference to Agenda 21, sometimes seen in the news, consider the following statements. It is a global action plan for sustainable development. It originated in the World Summit on Sustainable Development held in Johannesburg in 2002. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So what is Agenda 21? Agenda 21 is an action plan of the United Nations with regard to sustainable development. Please remember that this is a non-binding action plan. So statement number 1 is correct. Now coming to statement number 2. This action plan on sustainable development is a product of the Earth Summit, that is UN Conference on Environment and Development, that was held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in 1992. Therefore statement number 2 becomes incorrect. Therefore the right answer to our question would be option A, 1 only. Now let us take up the fact of the day for today, which is European Union Ground Rules for Web, that is the Digital Services Act. What is the context? According to this article in the Indian Express today, the European Parliament as well as the European Union member states have announced that they have reached a political agreement on the Digital Services Act. So what exactly is this Digital Services Act? This act was proposed by the European Union Antitrust Commission in December 2020. And this DSA is yet to become a law. So these rules are set of common rules on intermediaries' obligations and accountability across the European Union. It ensures high protection to all EU users irrespective of their country. So this Digital Services Act will work in conjunction with European Union's Digital Markets Act, which was also recently approved. So what will DSA do? DSA will regulate the way intermediaries such as Google, Facebook, or YouTube function when it comes to moderating the user content. So instead of letting these platforms such as Google or Facebook decide how to deal with abusive or illegal content, these rules in DSA will lay down specific rules and obligations for these companies to be followed during such events. So who will these DSA rules be applicable to? These rules are applicable to any service with more than 45 million monthly active users in EU, and such services will be regulated under DSA. So its primary aim is to ensure that the negative social impact arising from many of the practices that are being followed by internet giants such as Google or Facebook or YouTube is minimized or removed completely. So now, does this mean that social media platforms will now be liable for any unlawful content? No. The platforms and other intermediaries will not be liable for unlawful behavior of the users. So they will still have this safe harbor. But if the platforms are aware of the illegal acts and still fail to remove them, they will be liable for this user behavior. That is, these companies will have to look at the risk of dissemination of illegal content. Does India have such similar rules? Yes. India's IT rules that were announced last year make the social media intermediary and its executives liable if the company fails to carry out due diligence. That is, it mandates significant social media intermediaries such as YouTube, Facebook, or Google to appoint somebody known as Chief Compliance Officer. And this Chief Compliance Officer can be booked if a tweet or a post that violates local laws is not removed within the stipulated period. So this holds these social media intermediaries accountable. And also, India's rules have also introduced the need to publish a monthly compliance report. So now it is believed that the Digital Services Act of the European Union will end the era of self-regulation by tech companies. That is all for today. Thank you for being with us. Keep watching and keep learning.